Hi everyone, this is Subeda from Zephyr Lake Carmelite Mission. I hope you're having a blessed Advent so far. Today I'd like to share with you a very short video on Advent preparation and a reflection for Advent on love, joy, peace and hope. There were 4 banners put up in the 4 pillars in our church here in Canandaigua. And I thought that would be good for me to reflect on throughout this Advent season, and I ask you to join me in doing the same. During Advent, generally we Christians, we prepare our homes. We put up the Christmas tree, as you can see behind me. We put up other decorations like wreaths, lights, and also we put up the manger scene to remind us that these external decorations are reminders to us to prepare our hearts for the coming of baby Jesus on Christmas Day. And we prepare our hearts by reflecting on the story of the first Christmas in Bethlehem. And there were many prophecies, signs, and events that preceded the first coming of Christ. Which will also be very similar in some cases to the signs and events that would precede the second coming at the end of time. So during this Advent season, we not only reflect on the first Christmas and the events preceding that, but we also reflect on some of the things that Jesus himself speaks of in the Gospels that would precede his second coming at the end of time. And so we prepare ourselves by reading scripture, reflecting, and then putting into action what we have learned from the Gospels. And in between the first and the second coming, we remain vigilant, like the 5 wise virgins we read about in the Gospels, who were vigilant for the coming of the bridegroom by keeping their lamps lit. In the same way, we keep ourselves vigilant by remaining faithful to the daily coming of Jesus to us in the Holy Eucharist, if we are able to go for daily communion. But otherwise, just through prayer, by constant prayer and by good works, we keep ourselves prepared and awake and ready for the second coming. So love, I believe this Advent, especially with everything that is going on around us, I'm going to be praying that we all make a firm decision to love our enemies and help the helpless and those who are ignored. And our enemies are in need of our love and mercy. That's my goal for this Advent, is to love and show mercy to my enemies, if there are any. Or you can say in a softer way, maybe even people who are different from us. It doesn't necessarily have to be enemies, but anybody who is different from us, who is in need, we should be reaching out to them, who are helpless and ignored. We can reach out to them as a sign of our love. And of course, our love for God needs to be constant as well. And then the second thing is about joy. Jesus' presence always brings joy to those around him. And John the Baptist, as we read in the Gospel of Luke, was in the womb of his mother, Elizabeth. And in the presence of baby Jesus, when Mary visited her cousin Elizabeth, and she was carrying baby Jesus in her womb, John the Baptist leapt for joy in the womb of Elizabeth, in the presence of baby Jesus in the womb of Mary. And similarly, when we see Jesus being born in the cold stable in Bethlehem, we know that the shepherds were in the field watching their flock of sheep, and the angel appears to the shepherds in the field and announced the birth of Jesus. And this is what they said. They said, "It's good news of great joy to all people, not just a few, not just those who believe, not just those who practice, but all people. It is good news of great joy to all people." Similarly, when the wise men when they see baby Jesus in the manger, they were filled with extreme joy. They rejoiced. They were so glad and happy. So Jesus' presence brings joy to us. And Jesus tells that we will have fullness of life and fullness of His joy. When we put on the heart and mind of Christ, we will be people of joy. And nothing, no problems, no issues will take away that inner peace and joy from us. That is, everyone who is in and around us will be able to see in us the joy of Christ. And also, we will be able to see Christ in our neighbors. That is, neighbors, everyone who is in need, as we see in the parable of the Samaritan, the Good Samaritan, where there is this Samaritan who is passing by, and there is a man who has been beaten up, injured, and he's left in the byways of the road. And what happens? The priest and the Levite pass him by because they're busy. They want to do something else. But this Samaritan, who is the traditional enemy of this man who has been beaten up by the robbers, is a Jewish man. He stops and he takes care of this man, and he even puts him in the inn and pays for his recovery. So this is who Jesus says is the true neighbor. A neighbor is somebody who is in need and one who is kind to the person in need. So that's the most important thing, is to include our enemies in our set of people whom we love, whom we show mercy to. It's a hard thing to do, but with the mind and heart of Christ, it can be done. And then peace. Jesus brings peace to the world, not wars. And we human beings, we are compassionate people. And we are capable of stopping wars and ending violence. So this Advent, I pray that we will all decide for peace in our families, in our homes, in our workplaces, wherever we go, whatever groups we participate in. We know there will be a lot of provocation, but let us always choose the path of peace, the path of love, so that the joy of Christ will remain in us. And finally, hope. We hope and pray during this Advent season for the second coming of Christ, the new Jerusalem, the new heaven and the new earth, when everything will be perfected. With the first coming, the process of perfecting us has already begun. But then it will only become fully completed. The fullness of the perfection will come at the second coming, when we will have the new heaven and the new earth. So we are to stay awake, like Jesus said, by prayer and by good works. And we need to be prepared by keeping our souls in a state of grace. And we should not forget about the heavenly realities. And we shouldn't get sidetracked by the temptations and the things of this world that might provoke us to deviate from the right path. We should set those things away and keep focused on the narrow path and keep going forward. So that's my reflection for Advent, is to increase in love, to increase in joy, to increase in the peace of Christ, and to be hopeful, especially hopeful that the salvation of Christ is for everyone. Everyone who is willing to receive His mercy will be saved. Everyone who is open to His mercy. And salvation is for all people, not just for a few. That is my reflection, and I will be praying for all of you. Please pray for me, and I will be praying that you will have a safe and blessed Advent, and prayers for all those who are experiencing health issues or issues from natural disasters, and for people who have other financial issues or any other issues in their life. I will be raising all the intentions of everybody, this whole world, in my prayers during the season of Advent, and I'm sure you will do the same. Thank you and have a blessed Advent.